MotoAmerica has reached the halfway point of the 2019 season. All of our classes will be competing here in round number 5. This is the time of year where riders truly establish themselves within their class. Welcome to Tooele, Utah and Utah Motorsports Campus. I'm Hannah Loba. Welcome to Inside MotoAmerica. Located just 45 minutes outside of Salt Lake City is the small town of Tooele and the Utah Motorsports Campus. Known as UMC, this 2.2-mile track featuring 14 turns will host the MotoAmerica Series for the 5th consecutive year. Gorgeous mountains that frame the Utah Motorsports Campus will be the backdrop this week for round number 5 of MotoAmerica. This is a chance for our riders to continue to establish themselves in all 5 classes. In the Twins Cup class, the top 4 spots are separated by a mere 5 points entering this round. Sitting in the best position and the only rider in the top 4 to make the front of the grid is Michael Barnes, who trails leader Chris Parrish by 3 points. Let's join Robbie Floyd and Jonathan Green for the final lap of the Twins Cup race.
Final lap then, fantastic stuff by the youngster Alex Dumas on the Suzuki to win here.
Blasius, his teammate, back and forth. We saw the aggressive riding, trying to make it up on the podium and join his teammate. But we will have a different points leader. Michael Barnes sits in second, but that's going to be enough because Chris Parrish, the points leader, is down and out of this race. But no problems from Alex Dumas, taking the win over Michael Barnes. The Suzuki victorious. The margin of victory for Alex Dumas on this one, it was double digits. It was 12 going into that final lap. Coming across the stripe, it's going to be more. 14.3 seconds behind is Michael Barnes. The race is for third. Who's it gonna be? Cooper McDonald? Yep. 6 seconds behind Barnes, followed by Blasius, less than a second behind. I questioned whether Drake Beecham could close into the top 5. He does just that. As we look at the final results, again, everything's officially unofficial if I'm saying it, but it's officially a fast man. And Alex Dumas, the Canadian, showing without question. We wondered, could he be 4/10 faster than the rest of the field? Well, yep, he was about 4/10 faster every single lap when all is said and done, because he had a 14-second advantage over Michael Barnes. And you look at all the guys who able to take some points. Jonathan Green's down trackside with Alex Dumas. Not only his first victory in Twins Cup, but also now only 20 points behind in the championship, Jonathan.
Yeah, one heck of a day, Alex. You got to be pleased with that. That was the most dominant performance out of all the classes. A great way to win and now put yourself into contention.
Yeah, I'm really happy about all the bike, how the race went, and I'm really happy. Now I'm like 20 points or something.
That's right.
Yeah, and I'm really happy. I mean, we're off to a great start for the season, and I just hope the race is going to be like that.
In the second half of the season now, can you turn it around and make a win out of this? You won before in the Junior Cup. How about in the Twins?
Man, it's incredible just winning in the Twins. I'm really happy, and I hope for Laguna is going to go well.
All right, brilliant stuff by the outright wearing big man, Andrew Dumas.
Thanks.
As we take a look at those championship standings, it was Chris Parrish coming into this event who was in front, but Parrish drops back to 4th now. Michael Barnes, the points leader, 11 points. And you know, Drake Beecham moving up into that top 5, it shows him into 2nd. So that's an excellent job there. Beecham was 3rd. He moves up 1 spot. Chris Parrish drops back to 4th. Alex Dumas only 20 down now. That's only 4 wins away.
We have riders who range from 14 to 62 years old who compete in the MotoAmerica Series. Though they all enjoy the racing, each has unique visions for where they will be in 5 years.
Where do I see myself in 5 years? Hopefully I'm still racing. Maybe in Europe, somewhere out of the States, but definitely racing.
I would love to be racing for a world championship in World Superbike.
Beating the factory teams or winning on a factory team.
hopefully at that point maybe have a championship under my belt.
In 5 years, maybe I'm race Superbike for sure.
In 5 years, I see myself racing professionally, whether it's road racing, dirt track, somewhere in the motorcycle industry.
In 5 years, I see myself at a stay-at-home dad. That's where I see myself.
Still involved in the paddock for sure. It's been my life forever, so some way owning a team.
Hopefully winning Superbike championships.
Hopefully with motorcycles, but we'll see where life takes us,
In 5 years, I hope to be, have won some championships by then and maybe either still racing or be in the industry somehow, whether I am helping out other people or still doing it myself.
I sure hope racing still. I mean, this is all I do. It's my life, and I'm not too old yet, so I want to keep racing.
In 5 years, I'll be 30 years old.
Hopefully, still racing a little bit more.
We'll always push to be in the World Championship, and we'll see how it goes.
I hope to be healthy, racing motorcycles, moving on up, living and learning every year,
I'm pretty old. I'm 40. I just turned 40 this year. I'm hoping to maybe squeeze a couple more years out of it and then, move on to something else.
I'll always be in the sport somehow, whether or not I'm getting paid or not, I don't know, but I'll always be here, so.
I would like to be behind the toolbox, the wrenches and stuff, to help bring a kid up.
Hopefully, to get on one of the top tier teams. That'd be awesome, to do what I love and to enjoy the sport.
In 5 years, who knows, maybe I'm going to be a top runner in MotoAmerica.
Welcome back to the Utah Motorsports Campus and Inside MotoAmerica. Few riders know UMC better than Stock 1000 rider Travis Wyman. He has trained and taught here for years, and this week he gives us a turn-by-turn ride around this challenging 2.2-mile course.
Hey guys, Travis Wyman, competing on a BMW S1000RR here at Utah Motorsports Campus in the Stock 1000 class. I'm going to walk you guys through a lap here. Heading down to turn one, you brake just shortly after the start-finish line. It's pretty tricky. There's some sealer patches in that, so you want to run inside the first part, stay pretty tight, and then focus on a good drive out. Basically make this section here from 2 to 3 straight. It's a really fast right-hand corner, leading into a tight left for turn 4. You pretty much stay in the middle of the track as you exit turn 4 here. But hard on the gas, get a good drive in. It's one of the tightest corners on the track. Really late apex here, so you got to be patient when you get on the gas. Get your eyes up, looking ahead, and run the bike out all the way to the left here. You try and make this one arc from turn 5 to turn 6. Another really late apex corner, high-speed corner. You're on the side of the tire for a long time. It's all about getting a good drive out of turn 6 down into 7. Turn 7 is a very banked corner, high-speed entry. It's a lot like turn 1, where there's some sealer patches you got to be kind of careful of. However, you do crossover in the middle, run it out wide in the middle, and double apex the last part, and focus on a good drive up. And where we enter the track now is back into the outer loop, into the attitude. So this is a part of the track a lot of other riders are familiar with, but one of the most famous sections here at Utah Motorsports Campus. It's a left-right, left transition, really high speed. It's all about being precise through here, getting a good run as you head up the hill to turn 11. Turn 11, Tuella turn. It's pretty banked, kind of visually challenging, so you want to make sure you get your brake marker right, get in tight to the apex, get a good run up into turn 12, where there's a slight kink in it, but you make it straight. Heading down to turn 11, it's a fairly flat corner. Challenging for most riders, and difficult to carry a bunch of roll speed. Again, it's visually challenging as well. It's kind of hard to see your exit. Set up somewhere on the right to middle portion as you head off into turn 12 and hug the curb pretty tight. Set up for the last corner on the racetrack, which is the most famous corner, the release here onto the front straightaway. So a pretty banked corner, you hug it pretty tight to the inside curb, and again, it's all about the run down the front straightaway to get a good lap time in right down to the start-finish line. but short front straightaway here at Utah, one of the shortest on the calendar this year.
With Travis Wyman's local track knowledge, let's see if he can turn that into a podium for the younger of the two Wymans racing here in MotoAmerica. Let's go to the final lap.
Turn 11, now the Keek, turn 12, heading downhill towards the clubhouse quarter. There she is, the 13, that's where we saw Norton go down. Into windup, the right-hander, turn 14. Turn 15, the final turn, they call it release. And release the Kraken. The Kawasaki of Andrew Lee takes victory here in Utah. The second win of the season. Second's going to go to Jeff May. The 99 out of Sugar Hill in the Maris Bank entry. Kawasaki takes second. Stefano Mesa in third. And just as I had mentioned earlier, 25 points for Lee. Third place gets you 16. We're going to have a new points leader with Andrew Lee on top.
Andrew, congratulations. Brilliant race. Take me through when you overtook him. Did you decide, right, head down, I got to go? Because you did. Half a second in that first lap.
Yeah, I knew he was running a good pace, but I felt like I could pick it up a little bit. So my Franklin Armory Graves Kawasaki is really working good this weekend. So I'm just really happy that we got the issues from qualifying situated and come on top of the box again, finally.
Andrew Lee started on the inside of row one, finished in first with a time of 21:50. It was almost 3 seconds faster than Jeff May. Stefano Mesa held his ground, finishing third. Travis Wyman was around 8th, 9th, maybe even 10th, and worked his way up through 4th. He made the most passes without question. Unfortunately, he worked his way back and then had to work his way forward. But looking at the new standings, Mesa drops back in his 2 points arrears to Andrew Lee. The 99 is on top of the series points like he finished in 2018. Gilbert in third, 32 points behind Wyman, 44 arrears, and Rhett Norman, that difficulty, back in fifth. So
Every rider does what they can to gain the slightest advantage over the rest of the field. Different riders have different styles and preferences for their bike setup. One rider in particular is the only one with this specific modification.
We actually started using the thumb brake halfway through last year, and I found that's a really big help for me. I'm one of the taller guys, and I tend to actually lean off of the bike somewhat more than some of the other guys do. And you know, sometimes it's difficult for me to actually get my feet over to the brake. So we just opted for the thumb brake, and it also helps me to be tucked in coming out of the corners and to sort of help the wheelies.
We introduced thumb brake to try to use less electronic wheelie control. So the previous electronic system we were using would cut the power to the motorcycle too much, and so the rider being able to control the wheelie with a thumb brake helps the bike accelerate faster.
Being taller than most of the other superbike riders, it definitely gives me an advantage coming out of the corners.
We went through a few iterations of thumb brake before we found the combination we really liked. So we used an IMA thumb brake, rear master, with a Brake Tech rotor, which you can get from Superbike Unlimited. The main advantage of a thumb brake versus the foot brake is the feel. There's a lot more feel in your thumb, whereas using a foot brake is very on and off. So we can use the rear brake more gradually with the thumb versus the foot brake. There's certain tracks where the bike is going to want to wheelie more, so a Road Atlanta, the front straight at Road America, and although we have wheelie control in our electronics, thumb brake's a way of letting the rider control the motorcycle, give a bit more control back to the rider.
Some of the other tracks it definitely helps more than others. For instance, this track here, we don't really have a problem with the wheelies, but then you go to other tracks such as, you know, Laguna Seca, Sonoma, and wheelies are a big problem there.
Since Matthew's got used to his thumb brake, and we've got the combination of components where we're happy, we can keep more torque and power delivered to the motorcycle, and he can control the wheelie better with the thumb brake.
It's been a really good add-on to our Superbike, and it's tend to help me and help me with my comfortability riding. I'm very happy that the Westby guys have actually gone out and given me what I feel would make me better and faster.
When we return, it's time for the EBC Brakes Superbikes race number 1.
Typically, when Dunlop would roll out a new Hypersport tire or Sport Touring tire, we take the tire it replaced and take it off the shelf, and we just have one tire in either the Sport Touring segment or the Hypersport segment. And so what we did is we brought 3 more tires into the market. So for Sport Touring, we brought the Sport Max Road Smart 2. If you're a customer that's not riding all the miles and you still want great wet or dry traction, the Sport Max Road Smart 2 will be the tire for you. And in Hypersport, we brought in the Sport Max GPR 300, which is our budget tire. The next step up is the Sport Max Road Sport 2. It's going to get a little better wet and dry traction than the GPR 300. For a budget-friendly, all-around good tire, the Road Sport 2 is going to be for you. On Sport Touring, we have the Road Smart 3. It's really the best-in-class Sport Touring mileage tire. Now, the Q3 Plus is the only Hypersport tire that is manufactured in the United States. Its research and development team is located right here in Buffalo, New York. The testing that we do with that tire happens in Huntsville, Alabama. You've got multi-tread, so you're going to get better mileage than you would out of the rest of our Hypersport lineup, and you still get that great traction and grip that you're used to seeing with the Q3 tires. The Sport Max Q4 is for that weekend warrior, and it's a non-tire warming track day tire. It's street legal. In fact, it's designed by the same engineers that designed the slicks for MotoAmerica. It's built on the same machines as those slicks that are built for MotoAmerica. So if you're not ready for the slick, but you want to improve those lap times at the track, the Q4 is a tire for you.
Since this round is a 2-day event, MotoAmerica has implemented a big change for our EBC Brakes Superbike class. For the first time ever, there will be no Superpole session. This means that our riders will grid up based on their combined practice times. For our riders, this change means many things.
It's going to be different for sure. It's even more different with the different track layout that we have. Luckily, I have a little bit of experience, but not on the Superbike and not for like 7 years.
Well, it's going to definitely be something different for us. I think it's going to be the first time that I haven't done Superpole in maybe 2 years now.
It'll be interesting. I mean, I haven't been in many Superpoles this year, unfortunately. But I think it'll be cool.
It'll be nice because we'll all be on race tires in our normal practice sessions.
Superpole, I think it's one of those things that it's kind of cool for TV, but for us, it doesn't make a difference to me.
I'm kind of happy they took Superpole out for the 2-day event. Saturdays are pretty jam-packed with 2 45-minute practices and the Superpole, and then the race after.
It's a lot going on, and with those practice sessions straight in a Superpole and straight in race 1, so I think it'll give everybody more time to kind of relax and work on what we want to work on.
Always I had this theory in my mind, but for this weekend it's going to happen, so really happy.
Kind of sucks because it is fun that you get a super soft tire just to go out and just hammer on it. But my strategy and stuff is still the same.
Not really too much excitement for the fans, but I think for us it's pretty much normal. Kind of going into the race, knowing what everyone's kind of going to be doing for race pace.
When it starts getting down to it, the clock starts running down. It's basically going to be all of us coming in for fresh tires, and we're really stacked up on trying to get in and out, get ready for next session, and I think it's a positive change.
Let's join race number 1 on the final lap. Here's Greg and Jason.
On this final lap of the race, Tony Elias, the Spaniard, the 2017 EBC Brakes Superbike champion, trying to get that back from Cameron Beaubier. This race really going the way he wants it to go, not only from a running up front perspective and a possible win with a few corners to go, but the fact that Scholtz and Dunlop have put some daylight between himself and his closest competitor for the national championship.
It looked like that battle for third in the background there was getting a little bit closer between Scholtz and Dunlop. Dunlop's really making a charge, Greg. He's gone 31-1, and he just did the fastest first split of the race to Dunlop here on the last lap as he's closing up on the back of Mathew, but I think Mathew's got enough in the tank for the final 2 corners.
Tony Elias was back as far as 5th place, has worked his way into a race win. Trying to wheelie across the line here at altitude, takes the checkered flag in fine style, and Tony Elias adds his 4th win of the season. Only podium finishes for Tony Elias when he's finished a race. What a year he's having so far.
Mathew Scholtz comes across second. Garrett Gerloff, tremendous ride in third. Cameron Bobier fourth. Looking to see if Jake is across. Jake Lewis, top 5 finish for the M4 X-Star guy, Suzuki team.
Well, let's get back down to Hannah, who has a rider who, well, really a great and perfect race. Tony Elias with Hannah.
Now, you were really able to pull away at the end there. Greg was asking up in the booth, he wants to know, do you feel more comfortable toward the end of the race when you have a lighter fuel load than the beginning of the race when you've got a full tank of fuel?
Yes, at the beginning of the race appeared some problem I didn't expect. The track temperature was higher, and the extra weight on the front from the tank, from the gas, didn't help. So I couldn't do much, but also I was too relaxed. One rider passed me, no problem. Another, no problem. When I was in 5th position, I said, oh, maybe you have a big problem now. I wanted to overtake, I couldn't, but everything's become easy after lap 12, 13. Everything was better, less full, front grip was better, and I had a good traction. So everything was perfect. We did a great job. Thanks to my team.
With the win, Elias climbs up the all-time win list with his 29th win, a big gap of 53 wins behind the all-time leader, Australian Matt Mladen, with 82 all-time wins. In 1 month, MotoAmerica heads west to the state of California for the second half of the 2019 season. The back-to-back races on the West Coast starts at the famed Laguna Seca in Monterey, and then we travel to Central California for the Cycle Gear Championship of Sonoma in mid-August. 2 weeks later, all 5 classes are in Pittsburgh, then New Jersey, followed by the season-ending event in late September at Barber Motorsports Park in Birmingham, Alabama. Inside MotoAmerica will be there to help take the helmets off our riders and tell their great stories on and off the track. There is no better success story over the first 4 races than Rocco Landers. He's proof that you don't need a factory ride to find success at the racetrack. And to no one's surprise, this 14-year-old continued his greatness at UMC.
And the lead is just 0.7, 41.9 that time for Dallas Daniels to a 42.1 for Rocco. But this battle for third, Almeida leads him as he goes into turn 1. And this is where now it's going to be really hard to pass. And these guys are running in, they're not following each other much, these two. They're running in 2 separate places.
This is the final spot on the podium. Of course, Kevin Olmedo, the 14, he's been on the box twice this year. Last time we saw him at Road America, he was second. Earned himself 20 points. He's third in the championship. As for Isaiah Burleson, the best finish he's had so far this season, 6th place. And that was at Road America race number 2 as well. So Burleson really picking up the pace to number 91, trying to find the speed.
Oh, he's trying, isn't he? I mean, when you have that podium right in front of you, and he's going to have a look as they go up into the attitudes, Greg. He's got a little tiny bit of the draft. He's going to try. No, Almeida lets go of the lever. So his next real chance is going to be 2 turns from now. They're going to go through this left, then up to this kind of fast left-hander. And we saw 2 different lines from these guys earlier, but now Burleson's got to try to, if he can even sniff a little bit of the draft, but Almeida cleans it really good and uses a lot of exit.
I think that started at the top of the attitudes. It was just a little bit of a miscue there on the 91. Now he's got a lot of work to do with only a couple corners remaining in this one.
Look at Dallas Daniels trying. Look, oh, he goes 28.4. The fastest split of the second sector.
Here we go. It's a dash to the checkered flag. Can Dallas Daniels get in the draft and pass? No, it's going to be Rocco Landers. Dallas Daniels will get the fastest lap of the race in the battle for the podium. The final spot comes down to Kevin Olmedo.
Wow.
So how about that on the last lap? Dallas Daniels, in his bid to try to win this race, will be your pole sitter again at a 141.5. Rocco Landers, a 141.6, his best, but he'll win the race and collect the pile of points. 25 goes to Rocco Landers. That's going to be his 6th win in 7 tries this season. Pure domination the first half of the season in the Liqui Moly Junior Cup class for this Oregonian.
Here's a look at our results, Greg. Rocco Landers, as we said, by 0.142 of a second over Dallas Daniels. Kevin Almeida, third. Burleson ends up fourth. And then we got Gage Reese, Mark Edwards, Toby Kamsick, Hunter Dunham, Samuel Lockoff back there rounding out the top 9.
Another win on the season for you. What is your strategy when you had to catch up to Dallas there? Because he pulled quite a gap on you for a few laps there.
I didn't get the best start in the race, and especially on lap 1, my slider flew off. I actually caught it on a curb, but I got by Kevin and Isaiah, and I just tried to focus myself forward and tried to catch up to Dallas, and I got him, I think, on lap 5 or 4. And then passed him, tried to pull a gap, and saw him catch up to me on the last lap, and then I looked behind, he was right behind me at the line, so super good race, really enjoyed it.
Chatter is the feeling you get when the front tire literally chatters on the pavement, giving uncomfortable feedback to the rider. This can be caused by a poorly set up front fork or other chassis and/or tire issues. Welcome back to the Utah Motorsports Campus and Inside MotoAmerica. Great coaching is parallel to success in any sport. Athletes and teams rely on their leadership to constantly be the best that they can be, and that's no different when it comes to road racing. To better paint these unknown players in the paddock, here's Inside MotoAmerica's The Crew.
Ken Hill from Rickdiculous Racing, and I am the rider coach for our team. We've got riders of Gage Reese, Hayden Gillum, and Nick McFadden.
Having a coach really changes the game. I've been with this team and with Ken for 3 years, and I've been working with Ken for probably 5 or 6 years, and it's really stepped up my game. It kind of takes a lot of the guesswork out of your riding. Having somebody from the outside being able to look at what you're doing and watch what you're doing and have a solid grasp on what you need to do to be better, it just helps out a ton, and it just kind of shortcuts the whole process.
On the Rick team, we really spend a lot of time developing our athletes on their riding technique, their physical fitness, and their mental fitness. Throughout the year, especially in the off-season, we've got very specific evaluation protocols that look at where they're at in the riding. Through data acquisition, we'll look at, hey, we need to work on their braking, or we need to look at their line selection. And those are things in the off-season we'll train for. Same thing with their physical fitness. We have a very specific training protocol that we have for the riders. The riders have to fill out evaluation forms every week to tell me how many hours of sleep they're getting, how much time they've spent on their physical training as far as their cardio, strength training. We go through a mental training program as well. They've got meditation practices that they look at, breathing exercises they do. If their mental fitness is compromised, and that blocks their access to their technique. All 3 of those things together is what really makes a professional athlete.
He's always doing a bunch of research and studying on the top athletes and what they're doing to kind of prepare and train for what they do. So he definitely has a hand in all of our mental coaching and our physical coaching as well, even up to the stuff we're eating right before the race weekends, during the race weekends as well.
With all of our riders, like we can take Gage Reese as our Junior Cup rider. One of the things that we've been working with him on the off season is being able to use the side of the tire a lot more. Because on the Junior Cup bikes, they don't have the power. We need a little bit more of a momentum. So we've really worked on having more feel and understanding how the bike works on the side of the tire and honing the skills for that. By putting this effort in of understanding that there are fundamentals for our sport, training for those fundamentals, understanding them with very specific report cards, they really factor in anywhere in your life. So that's really what the RIC program is about, is we want to build better people, and we're doing it through this program of understanding all the different things that make up an athlete.
the best advice is to listen to one voice. There's a bunch of people in this sport, like you said, it's kind of individual. Everybody wants to do their own thing, and then when they start to struggle, they start to talk to a whole bunch of different coaches at once, and everybody has their own method, and when you get too many voices in your head and too many people trying to put inputs into it, you can end up just kind of fogging your mind with way too much information that might not necessarily be the right thing. So just kind of listening to one person and trusting in that and making sure that, you know, you're committed to that one person and making everything go right has been huge for me.
You can train for the sport. There are certain fundamentals that go along with it, and you absolutely positively can get better if you want to get better in the sport.
The biggest thing for me is just focus. Having that person there that you know you can trust and is there to help you out and make you your absolute best.
Let's see how the coaching is working for Rickdiculous Racing as they have 2 riders on the grid in the Supersport class here at UMC.
Hayden Gillum with all the pressure from Bobby Fong. Oh, wow.
And now Bobby's got to see if he can do something down the left, but I think his drive isn't going to be as good. Let's see, Greg. He's got to literally let off the lever and just go. No, it's too hard. Hayden's so good about getting the bike late braked in there and starts tipping the bike in and just lets go of the lever.
What a race we have going on here by Hayden Gillum. Bobby Fong trying to find some real estate to make a pass. Halfway through the lap here, through the attitudes they come. Bobby Fong's been strong mid-corner of that one, but Hayden Gillum with a good drive. No opportunity here into Tuella turn. Then they go to the kink. Clubhouse turn 13 coming up next. Bobby has got to think about it. Here he goes. No, rear wheel in the air.
Is he going to go to
that one done?
Can he accelerate out of here? He's not going to be close enough here. Now Hayden's going to protect this last turn. I'm sure of it. He's going to come out here, get the bike up early and get over to the left.
Oh, Bobby's trying to set it up. He's trying to go, but no room. He's pinched off. Here they come through the final corner. Hayden with a little bit of wheel spin. Rear end fighting him. Here comes Bobby Fong in the drop. He goes by. Oh, no way. Bobby Fong wins the race.
Amazing. Wow.
3/1000ths of a second. How about that margin of victory? We haven't seen a win out of the final corner here yet this weekend. And Bobby Fong.
Wow.
Perfectly timed.
And just behind those guys, Sean Dillon Kelly had a problem, obviously, in the last 2 laps, finishes 5th. PJ Jacobson's going to see himself on the podium. Bryce Prince, an incredible ride, but wow, that front pace. Unreal ride, Bobby Fong.
Unbelievable. He tried that. I'm telling you, Jason, I'm going to be convinced of this. It was a little bit of wheel spin coming out of that final corner.
You think so? Yeah.
3/1000ths of a second. It might have been that. Bobby had great drive coming out of there, pulled out of that pseudo draft at the perfect moment. All right, here's the results. As you can see, 3/1000ths of a second. Margin of victory for Bobby Fong over Hayden Gillum. PJ Jacobson 10.2 behind. Now PJ, I think he'll be okay with a podium, but he's not going to be okay with being 10.2 behind. But he was able to just eke it out over Bryce Prince. Sean Dillon Kelly able to hold on to 5th place with an ailing something or another. Richie Escalante after his off-track excursion.
What an incredible finish there. Take us through that last lap. Was that something that you had planned, a strategy, or were you following more of your instincts?
Well, I knew if he runs tight, obviously we have a little more acceleration. If he runs tight on the last corner, I could get a drive on him if I swing it wide. So I kind of had that in my mind. I was kind of sizing it up throughout the race because I knew he was going to do a defensive line on the last lap. So I had to work my strategy. But I'm excited to get this M4 car Suzuki on top of the box today. And Hayden run a phenomenal race. Honestly, he didn't make any mistakes. So kudos to him and kudos to my team because we got the W today and looking forward to my home round.
Thank you, Bobby. That's the 3rd win of the season for Bobby Fong.
That's a big confidence boost there, Greg, and he gave credit to Hayden Gillum about not making mistakes, but Bobby Fong didn't make any mistakes either today. Rode phenomenal.
All right, here's a look at the championship point standings. We talked about 7 points, so same as we came in, same as we exit. 35 for Escalante, 39 for PJ Jacobson. Sean Dillon Kelly now in 5th spot. So things are tight in this championship point standings in MotoAmerica Supersport at the halfway point of this season.
When we return, race number 2 of the EBC Brakes Superbikes. Welcome back to the Utah Motorsports Campus and Inside MotoAmerica. has turned his success as a rider into a way to give back to his peers. He built a dirt track in Owensboro, Kentucky that quickly became a place for himself and other riders to hone their skills, a place to build camaraderie, and a place to call home.
Yeah, for me to have this land and have this track and this tractor and stuff, it's like a dream come true. It's something that I love, and for me, it's really cool that I can provide this for all my friends too. I mean, for us to all have a place to ride is awesome, and I definitely feel blessed for it. And I still remember the day when I made some money, and it was either I could buy a house or buy land to ride at. And I said, I'm buying land to ride at. So no, it's awesome. We're out here about at least once a week. Depending on the races, we'll try and ride twice a week. It's a good crew that we have here that rides. It's me, Raj, Jake Lewis, Nick McFadden, Hayden Gillum, and Gage Reese. He just moved here, but he's been out here riding. But I think it's good for us. I mean, we definitely ride a lot, and it's kind of like a race weekend, because there's a lot of fast guys here. You can't have a bad day. I mean, if you have a bad day here and you're going slow, you're not going to hear the end of it. So, I think it's good because when you go to a race, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're sick or tired. I mean, there's 20 other guys there that are trying to win.
There are very few people in professional sports kinder and more deserving of success than JD Beach. His generosity is only exceeded by his hard work on and off the track, striving to be the best rider in his class. Let's go to Greg and Jason for the call.
Here we go, final lap of this race. Tony Elias deep into turn number 1, foot off. Don't see that very often from Tony, so we know he's got it in his head right now. He's trying to break away. Fastest lap of the race, credit to Garrett Gerloff last time by. The pace of these 3 riders. Oh, look how much track he's using.
Yep. Cameron Bobby is trying to turn it back up underneath. Now let's see if he allows that gap a little bit more and tries to get a run on Tony Elias on the exit of this turn. Just can't get close enough. Tony just gets down to the bottom, and the Yosh bike has so much grunt from the apex. And look at him. See how tight he is? He's not going to just open up the door and let somebody go up underneath him. That's the experience right there of knowing that he has a guy behind him that's willing to take the shot. But if you can thwart that early and let him see that you're not going to let that door open, it's going to make it much harder. Here we go.
Bobier's been strong. 1 bike leg separating those 2. Tony out to the edge. Bobier now, trying around the outside, maybe trying to square him up a little bit.
But see, Tony controls the speed, and Cameron right now is going to take a shot. There it goes, Greg.
Here's Cameron Bobier going up the inside. He's going to go ride again. He can't get the throttle open. Tony has got inside position. Could this be it? Tony Elias will go right to the apex. Cameron Bobier trying to do the impossible. He's on the gas. No, Tony's off the corner. Well, underneath the bubble, and Tony Elias, after a red flag, will take another win in the EBC Brakes Superbike class.
What a great last lap. And there's Josh Herron. He's going to come across in 4th. Then we're going to have JD Beach and Jake Lewis come across in short order right behind Josh.
To no one's surprise, Tony Elias tops the EBC Brakes Superbike Championship point standings with his 5 wins in 10 races, keeping him 26 points ahead of last year's Superbike champion, Cameron Bobier, followed by Garrett Gerloff, Josh Herron, and JD Beach, while Mathew Scholtz is in 6th and over 100 points out of 1st. With win number 30, Elias keeps inching closer to Cameron Bobier, who has the 3rd most wins all time in the EBC Brakes Superbike class. This adds a little extra excitement to the second half of the 2019 season. When we return to the Utah Motorsports Campus, Rocco Landers looks to capture his 7th win over 8 races in the Liqui-Moly Junior Cup class. Welcome back to the Utah Motorsports Campus and Inside MotoAmerica. Rocco Landers looks to capture his 7th win over 8 races in the Liqui Junior Cup class. Let's get to race number 2.
Rocco deep in the draft. He has a look behind him. Oh, that was a rev limiter right there. Did you hear that?
You're going to hear those every now and then for sure.
So what I think Rocco is doing is saying, okay, no one's going to attack me. He's got a plan right now in this last lap.
Yep, Dallas actually pulled away a little bit out of one. There's Kevin Almeida again with a lot of daylight behind him to these guys, Mark Edwards and Benjamin Glotty. Great ride for Benjamin, like getting himself into this top 5 right now. Dallas is hammered down.
This is it. Dallas Daniels really turning the screws at this point. If he had anything in the tank, he's uncorking it right now.
It's great through there. And I actually saw a little bit of movement from Rocco's bike between turns 3 and 4. But right now, Dallas protects the inside there. You can see how deep he got in there. He's almost backing the thing in a little bit lap before. It looks like he's got to get an upshift while he's leaned over. As they come out of here, Rocco's not going to be able to get close enough to him before they get to the attitudes. Right up behind him.
So about a half a lap to go for Dallas Daniels. Can he win his first of 2019? Rocco Landers has a plan. Is it going to play out the way he wants it to? Daniels had it, started to make a little bit of a break, but a mistake about 5 corners ago, and Landers is right there.
Got to protect that inside a little bit right now. Really, I think it's going to be a matter of Rocco's going to try to just carry a lot of roll speed through that last corner and do something with Dallas coming to the line.
Last couple corners, here we go. The 69 goes tight. Rocco trying to get the run on him. Daniels, he'll get full gas into the tuck. Here we go. Can Landers do it? He's in the draft. He pulls out side by side. Oh, Dallas
There
Daniels,
you go, Dallas.
able to do it from leading out of the final corner. Margin of victory, .044. Third place going to Kevin Almeida.
Giving me a heart attack. He's celebrating before he gets to the line.
I know, dude. That's down a bit. Come on, man.
Yeah, great job for Dallas. You can see Rocco even comes up alongside, congratulates him.
Wow. You want to talk about getting the monkey off the back, right?
Yeah, it's good to see him happy because you've seen this guy frustrated and he wants to win. All these guys want to win, and that's a huge win for the quarterly racing development team. I know Dale's going to be happy with that today, so good for Dallas.
Finally getting it done just after the halfway point of the season to start the second half of this 2019 Liqui Junior Cup Championship. Dallas Daniels now going to say Utah Motorsports Campus is his favorite place to race a motorcycle.
Wants to race here every weekend now, for sure.
Dallas, you've been hunting this win all season. It finally happened. How'd you pull it off?
I got off to a good start like yesterday, and Rocco got out in front of me. I kind of just sat there and watched him, and I was kind of catching him, but it was very slight. And then there, one lap I strung together, I really caught up to him, and I was like, I'm just going to lead. And I could actually kind of see the Jumbotron, so I could see where I kind of was. And I thought the straightaway going to the finish line was a little too short to draft, so I just gave it my all them last 4 laps and came out with it, and I'm stoked. And I'd like to say a happy Father's Day to my dad. I know he's watching. Thanks.
Congratulations. Thank you, Dallas.
Seen him on the podium a bunch. Here's our results, Greg. Dallas Daniels wins that race. Oh, look at the margin of victory. It's nothing. Kevin Almeida third, Mark Edwards, Benjamin Glotty, a name that we're going to have to remember for sure. Yeah. Incredible job in 5th. Dominic Doyle, Sam Lockoff, Isaiah Burleson, and Toby Kamsuk round out the top 9. Looks like that battle between Dominic Doyle all the way back to Toby was pretty close.
As we begin the second half of the season with the next race being at Laguna Seca, Rocco Landers sits atop the championship point standings for the Liqui Junior Cup, with Dallas Daniels in striking distance as a result of making 7 of 8 podiums this year. Daniels is followed by Kevin Almeida, Gage Reese, and Dominic Doyle rounding out the top 5. In 1 month, Inside MotoAmerica heads west to Monterey, California and Laguna Seca. All 5 classes will be challenged not only by this 2.24-mile road course, it features the circuit's signature turn, the downhill plunging corkscrew. Check your local listings for airtimes on the NBC Sports Network. I'm Hannah Lopa, and for the rest of our Inside MotoAmerica team, thanks for joining us here at Utah Motorsports Campus. We will see you next month in Monterey, California.